is telling me 2. Okay. Is there any other answer? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 50. You can pass on any number.
Sir, I think it's 2 as well.
Okay, so Allah also says 2. Chinmay says 0 or more.
Sir,
Okay,
it's
now,
2.
yeah, so when we say more, what do you mean by more, Chinmay, in this case?
Depending on the function's requirement, if a function has multiple requirements
No,
as
no,
parameters.
we are talking specifically about main function. So yeah, Sagar is telling me that there are two. One is ARGC and other one is ARGB. Okay. So like how many of you have used these parameters? Or you haven't yet? How many of you have used these parameters? Okay, so
Sir, I haven't.
you haven't?
No, 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 sir.
Okay, okay. So let me try showing you this part because like it would be better to understand basically how exactly it goes. Fine. So I'm writing a C function. Okay, specifically. So anyway, I'll be giving you this program. Yeah. So how you write is you write like this. Suppose let me write hash. Sorry. Hash include std dot h. Always try to include this stdlib dot h because these are the three libraries or header files which generally contains most of the functions. Okay, always like even whether you are not using or using it, you can add this because anyway this would be removed from after like if they are not used from the pre-processing pack. Right, so you write int main. Now this main we always used to write like this, correct? But this is optional. That's what like Chinmay said, like it is optional, 0 or more. Okay, now we have to track what exactly we mean by more. So if I am using these parameters, I cannot use only one. So this is int argc. That means argument count, and second is a list of arguments. So that's why it contains double pointer. So otherwise you write like this argv bracket bracket, or you write like this star argv. Fine. Okay, so let us try writing this printf number of arguments are. So when we pass those arguments, we will display them argc. So it is like a function call that you particularly use. Okay, so let us end the code by writing return 0. Fine. Let us try compiling this code. So I have written this code. Now when I write, say for example, ls, this ls works with only one argument. This ls may work with this argument. This ls may work with these two arguments too. Like it can have multiple arguments. So they are whatever we are getting here. So they are called as runtime argument. So when you execute this command, they would be treated as runtime argument. So let us try to say concentrate on our code. So we have code written. So argument, correct. So let us create an executable argument. Fine. Sorry, I missed bracket. Sorry, semicolon probably. Yeah. Okay, so let me create an executable. So if I write this, number of arguments are 1. So this would be treated as first argument. Okay, so if I write now one there, so this would be treating as this is first argument, this is second argument. So if I write 1, 2, 3, 4, so total arguments are now. In this case, if I execute, what should be displayed? Can somebody tell me by seeing above cases?
5.
Okay, so number of arguments are 5. Correct? Now suppose you want to display these arguments too. So what will you do? So let us go back to our code. Let us try to display this. So let me take int I for I equal to 0, I less than equal to argc. Okay, not equal to, so it should be less than. Okay, we'll write equal to and then we will see what happens. And then I plus plus, and then you write printf argument number %d is %s. Now why I'm writing %s? Because we have taken this as a string argv, argument list or argument vector. Argc is argument count. Okay, so let us write argc is argument count and argv is argument vector. Okay, so let us write this. So we have to write here I argv of I. So let us see what it displays. Fine. So let us compile. Let us execute this. Okay, so to see in a better form, we'll write /n /n and /t. /n. Okay, now let us compile this. Let us execute. Number of arguments are 5. First argument number 0 is ./a.out. Argument number 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4. So we had 5 here, correct? Ultimately, when I write equal to, then it shows me this. Correct. So that is the reason why I tried removing it earlier, but I thought let me show you that part. Okay. Now let me execute this again. And then let me write this. But you may say we are typing integers. Okay, let us type here MSc, MCA, IMCA. So it can take anything. So whatever you write here, this would be treated as, everything would be treated as character. What I said? Can somebody repeat what I said? Whatever you type on command prompt would be considered as yes,
character.
Okay, good.
Character.
That means a string, correct? Because that would be a single character or maybe probably more number of characters comprised in the string. Now let me give an example. Now see, each one of you is like say those who joined this meeting, each one of you have sat in a proper probably in a room where you will not be disturbed, correct? I assume you must have taken that case into consideration. Now, if it is a general meeting which you may not be interested in joining, but due to constraints you are joining that meeting, say, what that means? So you may not worry about the environment around. You are interested only in attending the meeting without participation. And sometimes it could be you are attending the meeting with the participation. So sometimes this environment around you would definitely matter. Now, when I say environment around you definitely matters, when I execute this code, what are the parameters related to environment? Where exactly my program got executed? There would be kind of environment setup to execute my code. For example, like those who know Java, you must have heard that Java requires, like Java is a platform independent language. That's what they say. So when we say platform independent, there is nothing great with it. Like they only do what? They install Java virtual machine. So to execute a Java code, you require Java virtual machine. And what exactly that means? So your whatever the code that you have written in Java language, when you compile that code, it generates an object code which is called as byte code. And this byte code can be understood by JVM only. So if you install JVM, no matter whether which operating system you are using, that byte code will be translated by that JVM, Java virtual machine, in a form which can be understood by that application or by that operating system. Now on Windows platform, when you use Turbo C compiler, it generates OBJ file, okay, which is an object code. And whatever the .o file that we get on Linux, the platform, like as the platform is different, we may not be able to really see that either of the format would be understood by the code. You can try this, correct, by creating an executable on Windows and try to execute it here. It may or may not, depending upon the situation. Like if you have some things written inside, some patch is installed by you, then sometimes you may be able to execute an executable which was created on Windows on Linux platform. Fine. So similarly, like in standard C compiler, which was initially designed by the team, Dennis Ritchie and his team, it never had 2 arguments. It had always 3 arguments. So this would be an addition for us. So it would be similar to what we see there. So it is similar to this ARGV, correct? Similar in the sense of the format char star envp. That means it would be double pointer. And what exactly that means? Environment list, environment parameter list, environment parameter list. Fine. So now if I have to display this, so like here I will write say 10 for example. Okay, and here I am writing envp. Fine. So this is the only change that I made. You can see this code. What I did, I added this char envp. This is third argument for my main function. Okay, argc, argv, and envp. Correct. So this is environment parameter list. So let me try compiling this code. Okay, I am hopeful that it will be compiled. Yes, good. So let us try to execute it. Now see the things. Okay, let us go here. Now as I have added only one parameter here. So it says number of arguments are 1. Argument 0 is slots as array starts from 0. So environment parameter 0 is, it tells me where exactly my program got executed. This was a shell. Okay, and the session which was created is this on this machine. Okay, the session manager tells me this is another thing that is added, some Qt accessibility and so on. So seems like it must be more than this 9.2. So let me go back and write here 20. Let us see. Even it must be more than 20 things, correct? Can you see something there, like which can be seen? Say, for example, if I now check the thing. Session manager and so on. So these all parameters are added always. So it tells me like few parameters might be known to me. Like for example, the current working directory where I'm working, where my program got executed. If I write pwd, you can see that pwd means what? Print working directory in Linux. So it tells your program is executing from here. So it knows that information. So who is the user? So you write on Linux, who am I? It tells you the login name was Nitin. Correct? In this case. Understood? Yes. Any question, query? So let me send that code to you peoples. Okay, so what we said, can somebody repeat what we achieved from this code? What we came to know? Yes, can somebody repeat what we came to know through this code?
So I can try. C has by default C requires two arguments. One argument takes the argument count that will take the argument list
Hmm?
for the runtime arguments, and there used to be a environment. I don't know what term you referred
Parameters,
to it.
parameters, parameters.
Parameters, right? Environment parameters as a third argument, which we don't use anymore,
Hmm.
but we could, and it basically tells everything about the session and the
Okay.
local computer.
Okay, so let me help you out in terms of what exactly we did. So see, when we said like I'll be taking my classes online, correct? That time I said you have to join this Microsoft team, correct? Ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you that this is an environment parameter that you should make use of, correct? That would be mandatory for you to use if you want to attend. That's what that's what we can say about this part. Okay, see that code one more time so that it will help you out to understand what I did. So here, say let us say I am adding this count, this comment below. ARGC is argument count, ARGV is argument vector, and ENVP is environment parameter list. Fine. Now suddenly you will start thinking why I'm telling you it is not a C class, correct? But why I'm telling you information about this? Because that would be required for us to execute, to learn next thing. Okay, now why? Now you may see like when we converted or rather when we gave call to fork function, we saw a process got created as a child, correct? So the process created a child depending upon how many number of times the fork call was given, and then ultimately everything was done. So let us say, let me do this. Emacs 130721 dot C. So site, like as I said, unistd dot h hash include stdio dot h hash include std standard library dot h int main pid underscore t. Okay, let us not do this. Say we will directly go with int I for I equal to 0, I less than equal to 10. So that means I want to create 11. So fork. Fine. And so I am giving call to getChar function. Printf I am in process %d get PID. Fine. So let us write code like this. Okay, and hopefully this code will work. 13.7.21. Oh, sorry. I don't know why. exactly it is telling us? Line number 1. Paths. Yeah. Correct. So let us compile. Let us write this. So maybe, sorry, dash M32. Now if I execute, now you must see, like while I fired this, the printf statement got executed. Correct. Now you can see like 31107, 330387. So few things got repeatedly printed. Now if I try go to other terminal, ps-ej capital H, and if I say grep a dot out, now see the zigzag structure which got created. So though we wrote, say for example, see these many a dot out got created due to that for loop, because every one of them executed, say that for loop and for call. Correct. Now we see the skewed structure also we got in the initial stage. Skewed in the sense, like you must have seen when I say skewed. Can somebody tell me what exactly you mean by skewed one? Skewed structure means what?
Not in a straight line.
Like this. Say for example, you will see that this is skewed one, correct? And then you saw some zigzag kind of structure. So how many processes actually got created? So if I say WC-L, so these many processes by a single throw that we created, single throw of for function. Now see this code. We wrote I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. So when child got created and then ultimately it fired this. Now how come it happened? Like if I try to debug this code, it would be communicating me, correct? So if I try to go here and press enter, okay, I pressed an enter key. Correct, you can see that. Now if I go and count here the thing, sorry, it was 48 na. So it is not yet removed. So if I again go here, let me keep pressing enter key, because there is a get char. So suddenly we saw why the others haven't got reacted. So there are still 43, 2043. So if I see this, this tree still exists. So if I try to see S, you can see their states also are added. Yes, 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 yes. And this got terminated. That's why it entered into zombie, because we pressed enter there, correct? Now you may see, like if I go to this other terminal and try typing this, so actually it is taking these characters as input for that one. So I'm pressing still the characters, correct? But I don't know whether are you able to hear. So if you see, I fired number of characters there by pressing T there, by pressing enter key. Now if I go here and check now my count, it became 196. Sorry, 1986. Correct. That means what? Now some of the processes will have that defunct in a multiple fashion now. See how many of them are defunct now. Correct? Can you see that? That means what they are not ripped yet by its parent. Ripped means you would be understanding that terminology soon. Right. So if I go here and if I keep pressing this enter key, I'm pressing enter key on my machine because the process has got created in a huge manner. Correct. So my machine also is not responding very efficiently. It is only 1948. So let me go and press enter key again because there is a get char added. Now you may say why we are not killing them together. So I could have done like what are the whoever is the parent, I can kill that parent process ultimately. So it may rip the children's too. Okay, so still let us do this. You can see it is 785. Now yeah, let us now write less. So this is the first one, correct? So hopefully this is the first one. You can see now the tree structure, correct? In a zigzag manner. So if I write if kill -9 to 9140. So still there are few processes remaining. Okay. So which is the parent then? So if I remove this a dot out, and let us try to see where exactly the parent is. Which is the parent process? Now you must have seen like wherever we saw this. Now see this a dot out. Whatever the bash we were working, it was with bash. But actually, what you did was you cut down the tree. You killed the process, but the other process never got killed, which is here. So if I kill now 141, let us see what it does. Kill 141. Now let us see again. So you can see like how many processes still are there. So are we going to kill all of them together? It would be difficult for to kill all of them together, but sometimes it may happen. Like you must have seen, nah? There is a denial of service DOS attack. Have you heard about? Have you heard about DOS?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, it happens with multiple sites. So if you keep on creating this way, suppose if I could have kept that code in an infinite manner, at least some space would be given to each of the process, correct? Now, if I suppose even if I try to kill that bash other terminal, it would not be deleting this because it is not child of bash now. It came out of the cycle. So if I keep creating this /a dot out, there would not be memory available because each part of a dot out would be getting some amount of memory. Correct? Let us say if I see the size of a dot out on my machine, it is this much bytes. So every a dot out when loaded in memory, some amount of memory would be given to it. Now what it would be? So at runtime, if I see these many bytes at least would be required. Like, okay, let us strip. Strip means remove unnecessary symbols. Now if I see this, still I can see the same sign, but if I write ls-l a dot out, you can see this much and this much. So actually your OS already taken care of not loading unnecessary things because you can deduct like this 13764 from 15656. They were unnecessary symbols added in your code. Now if I try to see like after removing some of the symbols, it says still you require the similar size. So if I say 2195 bytes per process, okay, and if we see how many processes are, there are still these many processes running. So you multiply it by that factor. So this much amount of memory automatically was given. So my machine sometimes may take huge amount of time rather to respond. Correct? So it can happen. So this would be creating multiple processes there. But now what is achievement there to see this this kind of code loading like a dot out everywhere? We could not achieve anything, correct? Now if I see the about tree structure which is seen here, so I can see that this code created these 5 children and each one was given separate task. Now how to do this? how to achieve this goal. Okay, so let me try to show you one important code, ls dash ltr. Star.c. Okay, this I tried creating yesterday for you peoples. Now see this code. So I'm making use of an exec CVE call. Now what this exec CVE call requires? Exec CAX exec CVE. Now read this man page. This is used to execute a program, and this function requires 3 parameters. Now you can see that path name, ARGV and ENVP. Okay, these are required. That's why what I did was I created this code for you. Now let me show you this code. Try to choose this code. So what we did was we created a process here by giving call. So if process ID is 0, that means what? It is in children. If it is in child process, then I am in the child process with process ID. Process ID is different for it. And we are declaring these two variables there, ARGV, ENVP, which I don't care. I have created this ./name program in my current working directory, where I am passing these arguments. Whatever the arguments, those are required. Correct. So if I try to show you this for our a.out, if I write strace a.out pipe less, sorry. So we still created those many processes, by the way. Yeah. So you can see now see this exe cve. When we write ./a.out on command prompt, it executes this. So this is your current file that you are executing. So you may see my machine is getting very lazy now because there are too many a.outs are running over there. Correct, too many, and then it tells there are 49 variables that are passed as a third. This was second argument that it passed. ARGV, and this is environment variable. So it says there are 49. I don't want to display that information to you. Correct. So if I say so, let me log out from this machine. Okay, so that I can show that part. So I'm for a while disconnecting my Linux machine so that like let us see how exactly we can achieve that goal again. Okay, so I have disconnected my machine on Linux and I will re-log in on my Linux machine so as to see whether like will it respond in a proper manner with assumption that the things would have been deleted. Maybe or may not be. So we have to see like what happens there even if you log out. Okay, so let me connect, like it is not showing anything to you because I have disconnected it from my machine, correct? Okay, so let me log in with my machine again on Linux so as to show the recent code that I was rather planning to show you. Yeah, so I am now joining back. Okay, and let me share my screen. Yes, so I'm back with Linux. Okay. So we have to first remove this a dot out, because what will happen otherwise? It will keep creating this. So if I go back and see grep a dot out, there would be, sorry, all of them are removed. Correct, all of them are removed. Whatever the files, those got created earlier because of our fork call. Okay, and the program that we were seeing is this one now currently. Star dot C. So the code, like I will pass on that code to you on comment window, through the comment window. Have you received my earlier code?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am passing this code again. Now for this code, like we require, sorry, something happened. Okay. Okay, let me change the name because it says I already shared that code earlier to you. 120721. Process 02.c 12072021 process, so 03. This is with exec. So I will say exec here to introduce that part to you. Okay, so I am adding this code for your reference. Okay, see this code on your end, and I also will try to show that code. So the code was this. So what it is doing, we are giving a call to the fork. Okay, from here, and we are saying in the child you have to execute this code, where we are going to execute this file. So what that file contains, so let me execute this. I have created this code like executable. Okay, so name. So there was a code written like less name dot c. This was only printing a term called operating system. Fine. And what I did was I created a executable with name as name, like this. So I have fired this command gcc-m32 name.c-o name to create my executable. So when it is done, when I execute this code, it displays this operating system term or the text. Now I want to give this call to my function. So let me first compile the code. Like to the function, I mean to say when it creates a child, in the child this code should get executed. Correct? That's what the code we wrote is mint. So what we are doing, we are executing this function. Sorry, we are executing a program, new program, which would be like earlier a.out copy would be replaced by now this dot slash name. Okay, now what exactly that means? So let me go and see whether can I connect my camera so that I can show you this part. Yes. Okay, now what I wanted to tell, see, like suppose if I create this is my parent process, correct? And I have created this child. So both of them, with assumption that both of them are having same address space because same code is loaded. What I want, this should be replaced by now this code, right, which would be new code. Address space would be same. Now what are the process ID given to this will remain as it is. Only code would be replaced. Correct? Now this code would be like earlier, this is a.out, fork created a.out. Now this a.out should be replaced by this name. Now in the tree process address like process tree, I should see a.out and child like this, the layer that we see, some layered structure. So a.out will have child now. Instead of a.out earlier, this would be name. Fine. So let me add one more thing here so that it will help us even to understand. create better. Exec.c, and here after giving call to fork, I am writing getchar. Hopefully whatever I am trying to tell you will reach through this code. Okay, you remember where I'm adding getchar, you can add in the code that I've sent you. So this fork, after this fork call, I'm adding this getchar. Right? So let me compile this code. 07/2021 process exec.c dash m32. Okay, now I am creating another terminal here. This should display as the tree. Grep a.out. Okay, right now there is nothing. So let me execute this. So it is waiting for a character. Now if I see this, can you see two images? Like what I was showing you, this one, correct? So though I am using different hands, I don't have anything to show you. Probably let us take this one. Okay, suppose this is your parent. So though they are different size, let us imagine that both of them are same size. So suppose this was a.out, it created a process through fork. So both of them are loaded in memory now with same address space. Correct. What should happen? We want this to be replaced by the new code like this. Correct. So we are saying earlier it had a.out name. Now I want that name to be replaced by name, which I added in my exec system call. Fine. So let me press now and enter key here in my code. Correct. Now let me fire this. Now can you see still? Because if you see here, sorry, I'm moving from there. So if I see here, I am the parent process with process ID with a return value. So child is 38011. You can see here, correct? Can you see here 38011? Yes. So let me press one more enter. Now you may see if I fire this command again. Now what happened? It displayed it. That it displayed the character, the string, but the program got terminated. The program got terminated. So if I add one more getchar there, probably I would be able to see that. So if I press again enter. Now what happened was with my a.out, I could not see anything over there. So let me remove that getchar from here. Okay, I removed it. Now let me compile. Let me execute. Now if I see here, because we are writing a.out, correct? So let us remove this because file name is changed. Can you see this? Okay, to make it simpler, let me do one more change. So I will remove this getchar. So it would be clear for you. GCC. Okay. Here let us do Control L. So I will write only this. Fine. Right now we don't have a.out there, correct? So if you see bash, we have bash only, correct? This 661, we had bash. Now this terminal that I'm showing you, this is 37996. So let me execute my code. Okay, so it got executed. So if I fire now again this command, if I go below, try to see with bash what is the thing. Can you see a.out now? Yes. Can you see a.out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me press a character. Let me press some character like P and press enter. Now let me go here and see this. Sorry, I pressed character and enter key as well. So I don't know. Okay, it is not visible that way. So let me fire this. You can see that a.out is still there, correct, in the structure. So I am pressing a character. A dot out is there. So let me press this. Both a dot out. Now a dot out should be removed. And can you see name now? Can you see name? It was defunct. Why defunct?
Yes.
Why defunct? Because it printed this and it is done with its work. Now it should not be in memory because the task of execution is already done. Now we cannot do anything with that part. So we could see that, like, if at all a child, you want a child to execute some other process the way that this bash is doing with a dot out. Bash, when you write a dot out, it creates a copy of bash as a child. Then that copy of bash is replaced by a dot out image. Now when you execute fork for a dot out, it creates copy of a dot out, which would be in turn replaced by name. And that's how you do see here. If it is at all, it is a child. Correct. Now if I press enter here, now my process tree would be clear. I cannot see a dot out because a dot out is already done with the task. Understood this? Any question, query? Yes, please. If you want, I can repeat it. Don't worry. You can ask me, like, can you please repeat thing? Let me show you the code one more time. Though I executed, though I showed you or sent you what we are doing. So we understood this importance of ARGV and ENVP. This would be mandatory for it to be executed because argument count would be actually taken care of by your code. Correct. So this here in this case, I am passing only this thing. So you may have your own argument parameters too. You can provide your environment parameters too, depending upon what you want the child to work with. Correct. And you have to only give call like this. Correct. So you may remember here I am executing this exec CV over here and not in the parent. This is in the child. Because in child it returns 0. That's what we said. This is a return value that we took. When we call fork, this would be return value for child, and for parent it would be parent ID. Any question? Any question, please? Are you there? Okay, seems no question. Okay. And now let me go back to the image that I was we ended yesterday with. Fine. Now let us see this one. Can you see my screen? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, like, if we talk about what is address space, every process will have something like this. Now this might be somewhat confusing, or like it is containing few things which we actually are not knowing about, but at least we know this text where our code would be added. This data would be our data part. These two are known to us. We already know this code and data where your code would be loaded in memory. Right. So this is the kind of address space given to every process. Some amount of memory, like this is how your private address space would be for every process. What it contains. So it is simply by simply executing a dot out doesn't mean our work is done. Now see what operating system has to put a lot amount of effort to execute your code. Huge amount of effort is included there. It is not simply executing ./a .out. It contains too many multiple things like which needs to be addressed specifically at that particular point of time. And it would be mandatory. Why? Because we don't know whenever a process is getting executed, what other factors it would be considering. Correct. So like if we see, these would be the kind of process related system calls. We used fork and we used exec CVE. Correct. So you can make use of others too. Like most of you have used this exit. Correct. I assume you must have used exit 0. Fine. Okay. So there are few informative things which are added there. So I will add this probably this remaining pages, and I want you to try these simple programs that are written here. So you can replace that fork one by your main. Okay, you can write main here. Similarly here, you can write main here and try to see whether it is generating this kind of tree, though it would not be seen this way. Okay, but at least you can see that there are things displayed like this. And this L1 would be containing by kind of thing. Correct. So like practice this for 2 days. On Thursday, like when we have our lecture, I would be giving you one code that is to be written by you. Okay, in the class where I may give you, okay, can you generate a kind of structure that I would be displaying in front of you? The way I showed you the trees. Okay, the tree rather a big tree containing nearly 2000 processes running in a zigzag manner or maybe skewed one. So I will give one of them and then it would be your task now how to create that kind of tree. Fine. So I'm adding these things for you. So even like this ripping information is added. So this is for you to read. So this term we would be talking in next class. Okay, so it's the remaining part. So at least I will be adding till this particular slide. Okay, so you can take help of these slides to work with. Fine. Any question, please? If you have any, you can ask me.